Hello, dear students. Myself, Gaganpreet Kaur. Hope you all are well. I'm your subject teacher for business studies. As in the earlier videos, we have studied about the principles of management given by Henry Fayol, the principles of management, scientific principle given by F.W. Taylor, and the scientific techniques given by F.W. Taylor. And now in this video we will we will be discussing about the leftover topic of the chapter, that is your second chapter, principles of management, nature and significance of principles of management. So let's start. Nature, characteristics or features of principles of management. The very first is universal applicability. The principles of management are intended to apply to all types of organizations, whether it is a business or not profit organization, that is known as NGOs, whether it is a very small or large organization, whether it is a manufacturing or a service organization. These principles apply at all the levels and at all the times, but the extent of their applicability may vary depending upon the nature of the organization, the business activity, or the scale of operations. So, these principles of management apply to all types of organizations at all the levels and at all the times. For example, we have studied about the principle of division of work, in which work is divided into small tasks and then divided amongst the employees. This principle is applicable to government offices where there is a diary or dispatch clerk whose job is to receive and send mail or documents, a data entry operator whose task is to input data on the computer, a peon also, and an officer also. So, this is how we can see how these principles apply to each and every type of organization. That is why these principles of management has universal applicability. Next, nature or significance characteristic, that is, these are general guidelines. Second, general guidelines. The principles of management are guidelines to action and behavior of managers. The principles are just guidelines to the managers that how they have to act and behave in a particular situation. But these do not provide answers to all the routine problems faced by the managers. This is because in reality the business situations are very complex and keeps on changing and are due to many factors. So these principles are guidelines to action, but these principles do not provide ready-made solutions to all the managerial problems. The third one is formed by practice and experimentation. The principles of management are formed by experience and collective wisdom of managers as well as experimentation. These principles are formed by observations and experimentation for a long time. For example, the remedy for the problem of fatigue in the worker, observations have to be made by giving workers rest intervals at different times and of different durations so that we can find out the best results. Next, fourth one, flexible. The principles of management are flexible and can be modified by the managers when the situations so demand. For example, in the principle of centralization and decentralization, every organization has to decide how much will be the concentration of authority, that is centralization, and how much authority is to be dispersed, that is decentralization. So, that is how we can say that principles of management are flexible and can be modified by the managers when the situation so demands. Next is contingent. The application of the principles of management is contingent or dependent upon the prevailing situation at a particular point of time. The application of the principles of management depends upon the contingency which may arise at different points of time. For example, while application of principles of fair and just remuneration of employees, multiple factors have to be considered, which include work done by the employee, paying capacity of the employer, and also the prevailing wage rate. So this is how the application of these principles is contingent and are dependent upon the current situation at a particular point of time. Next, mainly behavioral. The principles of management are mainly behavioral in the nature as they aim at influencing behavior of human beings. These principles are mainly focused on influencing the human behavior. These principles are related to the things too, but the more emphasis is on human behavior. Moreover, principles enable better understanding of relationship between human and material resources in accomplishment of organizational goals. Like in example, you can see while planning the layout of a factory, orderliness would require that work flows are matched by the flow of materials and movement of men. Next is cause and effect relationship. These principles are based upon cause and effect relationship. Thus, these can be applied in similar situations in a large number of cases. They tell us what would be the result or likely effect of the application of the principle. The principles of management are less than the perfect, since they mostly apply to human behavior and real life situations are not the same. So, accurate cause and effect relationship may be difficult to be established. These can only assist the managers in establishing cause and effect relationship. Now, moving to the next topic, that is significance and importance of the principles of management. Last topic of the chapter. The very first one, providing managers with useful insights into reality. The principles of management provide the managers with useful insights into real world situations. These principles will add to the knowledge, to the ability and understanding of the managerial situations and circumstances. It will help the managers to save time by solving the problems of repetitive nature quickly. It also increases their managerial efficiency. Managers learn from the past mistakes, and adherence to these principles also adds to their knowledge. Next importance, optimum utilization of resources and effective administration. Like resources, both human and material available with the company are limited. They must be used optimally. They must be used optimally, that is, in such a manner that they should give maximum benefit with minimum cost. They must be used optimally, that is, in such a manner that they should give maximum benefit with minimum cost. It helps the managers in decision making. It also helps in establishing cause and effect relationship, which in turn help in optimum utilization of resources, and wastages associated with trial and error approach can also be overcome. Effective administration necessitates impersonalization of managerial conduct so that managerial power is used with due discretion. Due to the application of management principles, in most of the cases, the manager cannot use his discretion. It is only in some emergency situations where he can use his discretion. Therefore, the decisions of the manager are free from the personal favoritism and biasness. For example, in deciding the annual budget for different departments of a particular company or a factory, the manager cannot use his personal biasness to allocate the funds to anyone. He has to see the organizational goals. He can only allocate budget to a department depending upon their actual requirement. So this shows the importance of principle of subordination of individual interest to general interest. Next point, the third one, scientific decisions. Decisions must be based upon the facts, that is thoughtful and justifiable in terms of intent and purpose. They must be timely, realistic, and subject to measurement and evaluation. They are based upon logic and cause and effect relationship. These principles are free from the biasness or favoritism. A situation is assessed individually and then the decision is taken. These principles help managers in taking scientific decisions. Next point, meeting changing environment requirements. Management principles are very flexible and they adapt all the changes in the business environment. This is because these are general guidelines and can be changed according to the situations. Now let's take an example. Principles like division of work and specialization. Principles like division of work and specialization are extended further in the modern businesses nowadays. Like the companies have started outsourcing their non-core business activities from the core activities. This is because they want to be specialized in their core activities. Next, fulfilling social responsibility. The increased awareness of the public forces businesses, especially limited companies, to fulfill their social responsibility. The businesses nowadays have to fulfill their social responsibility, which is also known as CSR, that is known as corporate social responsibility. This is compulsory for all the listed companies. So nowadays, only giving the minimum wage rate to its workers or its laborers is not enough. The companies have to do a lot for the society also. The corporates are nowadays opting some villages and helping them to develop. Some are opening schools and others are providing the basic necessities of life. So all these things, that means providing value to the customer, are known as that they are contributing, that these organizations or these companies are contributing to their corporate social responsibility, that these companies are socially responsible. Last point of the importance: management training, education, and research. Principles of management are at the core of management theory. As such, these are used as a basis for the management training, education, and research. These principles help in providing management training, education, and research activities for the entrance exam at any management institution, management aptitude test to be taken, which are based upon the understanding of management principles. These principles provide a foundation for the development of management as a stream, like various courses like BBA, MBA, etc. teach these principles as a part of their syllabus. These management principles act as a base for the development of new management techniques like OR, which is also known as operation research, cost accounting, just in time inventory. So these principles act as a base for the development of these new management techniques. So student, this is it for the chapter. I hope this is all clear to you. And from this chapter, the most important questions are principles given by Henry Fayol, principles given by F.W. Taylor, and techniques given by F.W. Taylor, and difference between Henry Fayol and F.W. Taylor. So these are the few important questions which you must understand first and then learn. Thank you, students.